Good evening, welcome. Hope you're well. Welcome to this Thursday evening in my own dojo and hopefully in your dojos. Made a few additions to the dojo. We found one of Ellie's old Builder Bears that I bought her when she was a baby, so that's got its black belt on. Bruce Lee's joined us. Bruce Lee, one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, has joined us. And Gohan from Dragon Ball Z, so if you're a child you'll understand what I'm talking about, otherwise you probably won't. And Egbert, the black belt as well. I've been bought a lot of stuff over the years to do with karate, so I just thought we'd make the kitchen more than my dojo. Maybe some flags next time and some kanji hanging up and stuff like that. Okay, so Kayla, your dad's joining us. That's good. I hope he's going to have a go because this is fun tonight. Alana, good evening. Well done, you are getting good at cooking. Evening, Harry. Ken Sensei, good evening, Grace. Andy Sensei. Ashley and Wayne. Sensei Sharon. Just quickly scrolling through to see who else is here. Harry-san. Huxtable Clan. Wait a few more people to join and then we'll get the lesson going. So to Thomas, tonight's lesson is a follow-on from Tuesday's lesson. I'm not suggesting that's going to be a theme every week, that we just blend from Tuesday into Thursday, but sometimes it works in balance, which I talk about a lot, as you know, so it works quite well for us. So Tuesday's lesson was based on Jiyu Kumite, which is fighting, freestyle fighting, and we did 5 attacks, so I'm going to go through those with you again this evening, but actually what we're going to then do is we're going to flip around and we're going to go from the opposite process of rather than being the attacker to Torah, we're going to be the receiver. Okay, and what does the receiver do should someone attack you with those 5 techniques? So we'll go through those, so you'll be able to see what they look like again, and then you'll know what to do with some of those people that attack you in that way. The variation is there's thousands of different options. So what I would do. Thanks very much, Daniel. I love that. Joshua's dad has said I need a haircut. Mate, I've still got my hair. This is I'm not getting this cut anymore. My friends and family are all bald, so not my immediate family obviously, but Harley Dojo, evening Harry, Harry M, nice to see you, young man. So we're going to work on the balanced view of the fact that we need to not only attack in Shotokan karate when we're doing kumite, but also defend. And counter attacking, I think for me, that's how I kind of became, I guess, better at kumite, was learning how to do that better first. I was not naturally aggressive, I was not naturally an attacker, so for me that bit came much later as I developed my kumite. So what we'll do is we'll do a normal standing belt. I would like to tell you that my back was fine yesterday, and then I've been on a bike ride this evening with my lovely wife, and it's completely gone again. So I might loosen up. Tuesday was really good. Tuesday I was in a lot of pain after the lesson, but actually I loosened up nice in the lesson, and Daniel just seen that message, love it. It's twinging again really quite badly. So we're going to do some stretches, do a little bit of a warm up and then get on with the lesson. And we'll finish at 10 to, again, so normal on Thursday for us to finish at 10 to 8. So just a slightly shorter lesson of around sort of 45 minutes once we get going. Okay, so everybody ready? Okay, so just arms forward, ich, ni, san, chi, go, rok, sich, hach, ko, and you, and back, ich, ni, san, chi, go, ro, sich, hach, ko, jo. One arm forwards, one arm backwards, ich, ni, san, chi, go, and change, rok, sich, hach, ko, and you. Okay, swinging the arms, ich, ni, san, chi, go, rok, sich, hach, ko, heiju. Okay, just rolling your shoulders forwards. Ich, ni, san, chi, go, rok, shish, hach, ko, ju. And backwards. Ich, ni, san, chi, go, rok, shish, hach, ko, ju. Okay, rotating. Ish, ni, san, shi, go, rock, sich, hach, ko, ju, and back. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, rock, shish, hach, ko, and ju. And relax. Okay, slowly. Ish, ni, san, shi, go, rock, sich, hach, ko, and ju. And to the sides, ich, ni, san, shi, go, rock, shish, hach, ko, ju. And up, ich, ni, san, shi, go, rock, shish, hach, ko, and ju. Okay, so nice and slow to start with, and then building up the speed. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, sich, hach, ko, and ju. Okay, relax. Okay, so hips around, just twisting your hips. This is Sensei Wayne's favourite move. He's better at it than me, but he hasn't got a bad back, I'm sure, at the moment. Okay, and just stretching into Zenku Tsudachi, fun stance. And then shorten your stance. So remember, we're doing Judachi again this evening. Okay, if you've missed out on Tuesday's class, I'll recap, don't worry. Okay, and just flex forwards and back and forwards and back, hey, and forwards and back, and then the other way. Just again, flex forwards and back and forwards and back and forwards and back. Okay, stretching up nice and tall with your hands linked together. Over to your left side and over to your right side. Stretching up nice and tall onto the balls of your feet. If you're like me, don't touch the ceiling because you put fingerprints all over it. But just nice and tall, and then just relax. Let the whole body go. Again, stretch up and relax. And one more, stretch up and relax. It's important to be able to relax the body, particularly when we're doing Jiyu Kumite. Okay, straighten your gi and your obi. Okay, and ready, os. So what we're going to do is we're going to recap Tuesday's lesson, okay? So we are doing Jiyu Kumite. So Jiyu Kumite means free fighting, okay? So this is the type of kumite that as a junior you will do for your black belt. If you go in competitions, you will do Jiyu Kumite, if you're doing that type of karate. And black belts, other students, higher grades, etc. We just do this in the lesson for a bit of fun. But basically it's learning how to fight correctly, to be able to spar, to be able to train with your opponents safely, and also to be able to defend yourself. So it's real-time fighting. So it's important to take it very seriously, but also have a lot of fun, okay? The good thing about this is you're not going to get told off about your stances, you're not going to get told off about your blocks. The key rule is don't get hit, and the second rule is look after your opponent, okay? So good control is really important. So really, this is where you can kind of have a little play with your karate, try new things out, kicks, punches, blocks, etc., movement of stances, etc., and become more fluid, become more, in terms of your movements, more wave-like, okay, as opposed to the more rigidness of Kyon basic technique in Shotokan karate. So I find that some people find it's difficult to go from being that rigid person, okay, in terms of doing straight chokuzukis like this, to then doing a punch that is just delivered with more relaxation and then just came out at the end. So there's a balance to be found, but it just takes a little bit of time. So technique one then, first of all, sorry, it's front stance. Okay, so not Zenku Tsudachi here. So we bring the foot back a good foot length to shorten the stance. We take the weight out the back leg, so the back leg is also bent, and then we can change legs, we can jump stance, and we can move much easier. So think of active suspension all of the time. So you don't want to be locking your legs out. If you do, probably going to find that you get swept at some point quite quickly actually. So shorten the stance. So ready? Hey oi. And step down Judachi. So Judachi. Ich. So remember our guard. Our guard, this hand is in line with the chin, this hand is in line with the solar plexus. Our body is at hanmi, half facing. giving less opportunity for people to spot a target as opposed to here. You know, you can give them a big target. So more hamming, half facing. Okay, so we're going to do the Tora attacks that we did on Tuesday. So again, if you weren't here on Tuesday, that's fine, and you've got a chance to catch up on the lesson, then you can just have a go at this tonight. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's good fun. Okay, so right, a step down. Yeah. Okay, so here Gyakuzuki. First of all, then, so we don't bring the hands back to the hip. We just punch from where we are, and we extend the front foot. So the front foot is more flexible, the back leg is more flexible, and we drive our punch home, Gyakuzuki, and then we come back. Okay, so we just drive that front hand home, yeah, and back. There's that, yeah, and back. And it's really important, like crucial, that your target is your target. You don't miss. I'm proud of my targeting. I don't miss. I hit every single time. Okay, and that I think is absolutely crucial. Poor form on that area, hitting people anywhere else where they should be hit, here and here. And I think that's probably not something that's very good. So we need to make sure that we're attacking, yeah, hey, and back. So extend that front leg, bend the back leg, yeah. So the punch extends. So normal Zenkazudachi punch here. Drive. We can drive a lot further. We make incredible distance. And although Shotokan is often given the kind of like in competition, people would say, oh, they're old and slow, as it being one of the oldest styles of karate, and also because it was long stances, it was deemed quite slow. But we can come up in our stances and we can be fast and explosive. You just have to watch a little bit of proper Shotokan fighting and you'll understand what I mean. That we are not slow. So it's important to shorten those stances so we're able to explode and punch correctly. Okay, so keep reflexing here. Yeah! Hey, Gyakuzuki. Okay, so just a couple of times. Okay, so each. Okay, I'm going to change legs. And ni. And san. Eishi. Okay, and I'll change legs again. Okay, so that was technique one. So technique one is just Gyakuzuki. Okay. Technique two, we step up a little bit. And Sensei Ian, good evening. Us, Sensei Joe. Us, Massimo from Italy. Us. Good to see you. Us. Okay, so technique two then that we covered again on Tuesday, Tuesday evening, was Kizami Gyakuzuki. So Kizami Gyakuzuki is the jab punch. Okay. And the second hand is just the Chuden Gyakuzuki. Hey, come back to Tokamai. Okay, so 1, 2. Kizami Gyakuzuki. So 1, 2. Kizami Gyakuzuki. So this is just a recap, and then we'll go what we're going to do this evening as well. So just a very brief recap. So 1, 2. So no shoulders. Don't show your opponent. Just relax this arm. Bang, bang, yeah, and finish. Us. So relax. 1, 2, and 2. So Kizami Gyakuzuki. Again on the opposite side. 1, 2. Relax. 1, 2. You can see it's more relaxed. You can see that I'm more relaxed in the way that we deliver these techniques. Okay. But please be rest assured that this has kime, as does this. It will hit only on impact and then be released again, so the person doesn't get hurt. And we do what we should be doing with those punches. Kizami Gyakuzuki. So technique 1, Gyakuzuki. Technique 2, 1, Kizami Gyakuzuki. Okay, so try to, if you can, remember these. Number 3 was a slightly different one. So Gyakuzuki Chuden. Okay, to drive the person back. So long Gyakuzuki Chuden, and then a faster explosion technique from the second one. So you're driving them back with the first punch. This needs to be long. So you don't want to do a short Gyakuzuki here. It's not feint. You deliver this strong and hard to make your opponent block and move back. Okay, if they don't move back, you score. So that's a good technique on its own. So this will score, similar to the first technique. But actually what we're doing is we're driving back to punch through. Now you can see I'm making distance here. I've probably got 3 meters tonight. Move the camera back a little bit. So we're making a lot of distance. So again, Gyakuzuki here. Come through, Gyakuzuki. The reason I'm changing the level is from my opponent's perspective, if I make them come down with their arms, if I make them think about blocking low, okay, then I've got a gap upstairs. it's not long before they will realise what I'm going to do, so you have to be quick on your movement. So again, remember to change legs, don't stick on one side. Iya! So again, Gyakuzuki, Iya! Hey, Gyakuzuki. So that's Gyakuzuki, Gyakuzuki, so both techniques, one Chudan, one Jodan. You can of course mix that up and do Jodan, Chudan, Jodan, Jodan, Chudan, Chudan. You can change everything that I'm doing this evening to suit your own needs and abilities and requirements. So technique 1, just the Gyakuzuki. Technique 2, Kizami Gyakuzuki. Technique 3, Gyakuzuki, Gyakuzuki. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so technique 4. Technique 4. Now this was the one where we had two options. So we had technique 4, we had an A and a B. Okay, or a Shiro and an Aka, whatever you want to think about it. Okay, so this again was a Gyakuzuki. Okay, so again to push our opponent back, to make them start to think about retreating. Okay, so we gyak them, and then we come in through Yurakunuchi. Yurakunuchi. If you leave this hand here, they will know the Yurakun's coming. So be mindful of that. Maybe show them your commitment to your Gyakuzuki, and then your Yurakunuchi. And you keep changing that. So during a competition, match, fight, you change that. Sometimes you bring your hand back to your hip, sometimes you leave your hand there. All of it is trying to outwit your opponent, okay, or your partner. Think of Kumite matches as a game of chess. Okay, you both bow, you start, hajime, okay, and then very much you start to assess your opponents, you start to think about what they're doing, what they're thinking, what you're doing, and then someone makes their first move. Okay, and that first move can be a fatal error, quite often is the case, okay, especially if you're doing shogu ippon, which is 1 full point scoring, then it's really important there that you know, the mind is secure and you know where you're going and what you're doing, okay. There's lots of really weird things bubbling up on my thing, anyway, I'm hoping that's a good thing. I guess if there's angry faces then it's not. So I hope that makes sense. Think of karate, Kumite as a chess game, okay, but with live pieces, and just ever such a little bit more excitable. I've got a Star Wars chess set. This is kind of like Star Wars but in 4D, so it's much better. It's much better. Star Wars is cool, obviously. So we're on technique 4 then, obviously. So we've done the first one, Gyakuzuki, okay, then Kizami Gyakuzuki, then Gyakuzuki, Gyakuzuki, and then this next one, Gyakuzuki, step through, Yurakunuchi. Okay, Gyakuzuki, Yurakunuchi. Changing legs, remember, to keep the balance going. If you've got one side that's better than the other, then you're almost certainly going to stay on that side. The issue being, your opponent is going to eventually get hold of that and work it out, and unfortunately you're then fighting with half your chess pieces. Now I've never really played chess to a point where somebody's lost half of their players or pieces, so I think you need to balance both sides. So again, Gyakuzuki, Yurakunuchi. Now remember, this is for A, because we can, of course, Gyakuzuki and use the same hand. And Yurakun, back fist, okay, hitting with the back of the hand onto the side here, those bits, okay, is a secure technique because whilst it's going upstairs, the danger of drawing blood or causing significant injury is really minimalised because these bits are quite soft, okay. Hitting here, in the chin or the nose, sorry, not the chin, the jaw and the face and the teeth, potential for blood is horrific. So we need to be mindful of our control. So this is quite a nice secure one. Generally mitts are worn today in today's Kumite matches, and those bounce off quite nicely off somebody's cheekbone. Okay. So that's technique 4, and then technique 5 was the final one, was a Gyakuzuki. Okay, and what we were doing is we were pushing our opponent back. So again, we were going long Gyakuzuki, tapping their front leg and finishing them off. Now hopefully, when we tap the front leg, just unbalances them and they start to go down. If they start to go down, okay, so in other words, that's an ashigarai, you finish them on the ground, or you finish them midway, but you hit them before they touch the floor. Ultimately, if you sweep the leg, okay, and they hit the deck, your punch has to be simultaneous or instant for you to win or score a point, etc. So always better to try and hit them before they hit the deck, because then you don't have to go down to their level. Also, people from the ground up, if they have been swept, potentially very dangerous. I'll explain that a bit later when we do the other side. Okay, so once more, it's a Gyakuzuki here, Ashibarai here, and then a Gyakuzuki. At Chudan, at Jodan, at Gidan, to the floor, wherever the opponent is. Now, if the Ashibarai is just a tap, sometimes it will just unbalance them, okay? So then you've just literally got an unbalanced person in front of you, you hit them wherever you want to. Where can you score? Chin, steer, it doesn't matter, so it's immaterial. But that's the idea, is that you balance. So Gyakuzuki, Ashibarai, and finish. Okay, so from here, Gyakuzuki, Ashibarai, and notice I'm not looking at my foot. I'm not looking at their foot. I'm looking at them. Remember what I said on Tuesday, that our peripheral vision should encompass the whole body of the karateka that we're fighting. And I think karate does actually build on your peripheral vision anyway. I think it's important that it does. Expand it, so my hands, which you probably can't see now, but I can still see the tips of my fingers here, even if they're side on. My peripheral vision is quite wide, and I think it's widened by doing karate. Okay, and so that's just another small element of karate. That's a positive thing, I hope, anyway. So there are 5 techniques. Quickly, Gyakuzuki, Gizami, Gyakuzuki, 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 Raken Uchi, Gyakuzuki, Ashibarai, Toshizuki or Gyakuzuki, etc, etc. Okay, I don't think I missed any out, so we'll change legs once more. So Gyakuzuki, Kazami Gyakuzuki, Gyakuzuki, step through Gyakuzuki, Gyakuzuki, Yarakunuchi, on either hand. You can do either hand, remember. Okay, and in the 5th one, Gyakuzuki, Ashibarai, finish the Toshizuki. So, there are 5 attacks. Okay, and generally they're very successful. I certainly use them a lot in various different situations and they work very well for me. But we now need to think on the other side of the coin, as it were, so to speak. So, what do we do when we're attacked with those? Okay, so first of all, we start off with the very basic Gyakuzuki. So, os. Okay, Ayoi. And step down, Jidachi. Hiya! Okay, so from this position here, I'm imagining you attack me with this nice long Gyakuzuki. And the reason you're attacking me with that is because you've seen a gap in my armour. Maybe my guard is too wide, okay? And I move towards you, and you actually think, well, hang on a minute, I can get here, I can score, and you come in with a nice long Gyakuzuki. For me, that's a really good place for me to be in. Okay, because if you don't commit 110% to that punch, I will counter you. Okay, so from this position here, you come in because I go for you this guard. Now this is me doing this deliberately. Okay, I often will fight, always like this is my guard, and occasionally I'll just let it drop. Not massively like that, but just enough to make them think, here's my chance. And what I would do is here, I'll parry down and Yurakunuchi. Okay, because as they come in, they will extend their body, remember? They will extend into the punch, and I would bring them in, okay, and Yuraken them really quickly. But I don't just have to Yuraken. Here, I can gap them back, gap them in the face, Ashibarai them, finish them again. So there's a multiple amount of different things I can do to protect myself from a singular Gyakuzuki. Some days, it's impossible to block a Gyakuzuki. I think if you get somebody who's really fast, really strong, and they commit 110%, they will score. Okay, and there's some very, very good people that I've fought over the years that have been able to do that to me, and I've done it to them. So, singular Gyakuzuki, the best block in the world for that is Ose. So Ose is a parry. So keep your guard together, keep your fists together when you're fighting as much as possible, but keep your arms relaxed to a point. Parry down, and then Yurakunuchi. That's a really good, very simple block and counter technique for number one. Okay, so again, remember, it comes in here. You are going to move back. If they're coming in with a long Gyakuzuki, you're going to have to come back. But as you come back, it springs you forward. So you're able to take that momentum of coming back to go forwards. Okay, so you're not here, you don't do that because their fair punch is super strong, it will go straight through your block. What you need to do is just parry enough to take the weight out of the punch. As you draw back, it shortens their opportunity to get you, okay, and then yeah, you are super fast with your return punch. And I think the key thing here, which I can't show you this evening because we're so far away from each other, and that is timing and distance. And I can't show you it even in my dojo because it's just not long enough. Distance and timing are two things that are really, really quite difficult, I think, to learn, to manage. I think Wayne Sensei asked a question the other day saying, are people built as natural fighters, or can you learn to be a good fighter? Well, I said the latter. I feel very much that I was able to learn the craft, as it were. I wasn't naturally aggressive. I'd only ever got into one fight in my whole life as a teenager, and that was somebody attacking me. So it wasn't really me instigating anything. But I learnt to fight, and I learnt to fight well, okay, by doing lots and lots of kumite. So yes, I do think you can learn stuff. The distancing and the timing bit, they come with experience. Okay, so you start to learn. You know, when someone attacks you with a long punch and you take their front leg and actually drive and finish, that doesn't happen just overnight. That is work. You have to work on that timing. There is sometimes an element of natural, God-given ability. Some people just have that, some people don't, but you can learn it. You definitely can learn it, I think, in Shotokan. That's the good thing about Shotokan, you never stop learning it. So it was a good question that I was asked on that Friday Q&A session. Okay, so that's the first one then. So the punch comes in, so just to parry down, okay, either a Gyakuzuki is a counter punch, parry down, Yurakunuchi, parry down, Yurakunuchi, parry, Yurakin, right? You can do anything from that first block, okay? But your key thing is you must block the first punch. So you maybe entice them in, so this is me leading them on, as it were, okay? Come into my webs of the spider to fly type thing. Now here we go, yeah! And then counter punch. So that's the Gyakuzuki, that's technique one. That's the defense I'd used. You could use different types of blocks. Soto-ryuki would work, Uchuki, Gyaku would work beautifully. So opposite side. So Gyakuzuki comes in here, you block here, you've then got the front leg there, you can sweep, and there's 1,000,001 ways. I said that at the beginning. Just going to give you a couple this evening, hopefully to kind of get you excited with this. So number two, this is one of my favourites. The kids love me doing this one because I talk utter rubbish when I'm doing it. So Kazamizuki, Gyakuzuki. Okay, now sometimes when people attack you with this, they just go Kazami, and you block that, and your guard comes up because no one likes to punch in the face, and then they yak you. And then other times they do simultaneous, yeah, and they both are coming together. So it's literally like one technique. It's boom. I think we call it ayuch, simultaneous techniques that are attacking. So we need to be thoughtful of the fact that this technique is going to come in at 2 levels, okay, 2 levels. And we need to be efficient in the way that we block it and manage it, and then the way that we counter attack. So for me, I think probably the simplest way, again, to teach students is the front hand is already there to do the first punch. The first punch will come here to the chin. This is the same height, and that's it. That's all you will need to stop that first punch. Nagashi, so sweeping or flowing, okay? Nagashi. It's like Osei, very similar thing, almost like a parry as well. But it will just take the punch off the line. So it will take it away from the face. And trust me, with the velocity and the momentum of your opponent, you don't need much you don't need to whack. Okay? So here, just open that hand here. The second punch though is now coming in, so they know now that you've blocked that first punch, and so their second punch is coming in. And again, you could use the backhand, which is quite good, and then your raken, which is a great technique. But for me, I've been teaching the children using the same hand. So we call this I think we call this the 12 o'clock position. Okay, so the parry across, 12 o'clock position. And then we push down to the 3:15, I called it. Don't ask me why I got 3, but we said 3:15. So we're using like a clock hand for children to understand this concept. So the first one here, and then Gyakuzuki. And that will be our counter punch. So we would be balancing our body here, waiting for them to come in. They're coming into the face down, and that's it. It's that simple. If only it was that simple. It is simple, but it's not that simple, if that makes sense. So again, as their punch comes in, just this parry here, okay, so 12 o'clock here, then parry here to 3:15. This hand's Gyakuzuki. Okay, parry, parry, iya, to the face, Gyakuzuki. Parry, parry, Yurakunuchi. Yeah, all sorts of things we can do. I wouldn't at this point, and I'm not going to this evening, we're not going to use our feet and legs at all, apart from the Ashibarai situation. And the reason being is that on the whole, generally speaking, generically speaking, arms are better and faster than legs. Yes, sure, legs are bigger and stronger potentially, but they're slower. So I think if you can use your hands and arms, you're going to be generally doing better if that's the case. Unless, of course, you are literally pretty fly with your kicks and you're quick on your feet. I find kicks pretty easy to block. You can generally see them coming, not always, but you know, the arms are much harder to read, I think. So again, on this one, it's the Kazami Gyakuzuki. So here, 12 o'clock, 3:15, and this hand is already cocked and armed, ready to punch like a gun firing the bullet. Yeah, so it's literally here, so this position here, 1, 2, yeah, Gyakuzuki. So here, yeah, here, yeah. So you can just jump stance, you can muck around with this one, you can change stances, change it faster, here, yeah. And it's good again to just come back ever so slightly as the punch comes in. So bang, bang, and drive in. Drive in. Moving away from your opponent gives you some momentum to move in, to move towards them. I think it's important to not become static when doing Jiyu Kumite. Okay, sometimes when we're older, we're tired, you know, a Kumite match typically 2 minutes long. They don't last 2 minutes, they last a lot longer than that because referees stop the fight, points are scored or not scored, there's an awful lot of stopping. So it can go on for minutes and minutes and minutes. I think my longest fight was about 11 minutes and it was truly exhausting because you're committing everything to everything, if that makes sense. When you're 2 meters apart and you bow and then you come together in this chess match, but with real players, it's very draining, physically, emotionally, soulfully, everything you can imagine. And as you can imagine, I'll probably tell now, I'm getting quite excited because I love this stuff. I love Kumite, even with a bad back. So, technique 1, simple parry. Okay, simple parry here, push down, and then counter punch Gyakuzuki, parry down, Yurakunuchi. Okay, technique 2 then, which is the Kazami Gyakuzuki, or 1, 2. Okay, 12 o'clock, 3:15, counter punch down the centre. Us. So here, and yeah, here. Okay, us. So 2 very simple defences for technique 1 and 2. Okay, so then we move on to the more complicated techniques where the opponent is really coming at you and pushing you back. And the reason they're doing that, because if you remember on technique 3, we're gyacking, okay, we're making this gyak long because we want to push our opponent back, okay, so that we can then come in, yeah, with a fast punch to the face. So we've got one punch coming into the stomach and then a second punch coming into the face. Obviously you can change that around and it could be both the stomach, both the face, both, whatever. You need to judge that as your opponent attacks you. So the punch, we're going to work on this one here, Gyakuzuki, and then yeah, Gyakuzuki. Okay, so what do we do there? What do we do there? So if we just parry down, we're going to have to backpedal quickly as that second punch comes in. So as soon as I do this, they are coming at my face with a fist at full speed. And I've got to move right the way back and then counter punch them. Now that is scary, but don't, you know, it's scary. So when someone gyaks you and you think, yeah, I've parried it, and then they just continue towards you, it can be very intimidating. None of us like things going towards our eyes and our face, etc. So we maybe need to think slightly differently with this one. So as that punch comes through, so rather than just sliding back here, we're coming back, we're stepping. We're stepping. Okay, this then brings them towards us, brings them into our zone where we want to have a little play. Okay, so they come towards you. So you parry the first punch down, you've come back now. Okay, their second punch is coming into your face now, and it's just a parry across. Take the leg as they land, Gyakuzuki. Now you'll notice that I do quite a lot of sweeps. I teach quite a few sweeps when I'm doing Kumite properly, which is generally at courses and stuff like that. Don't teach this stuff in the dojo very often because we generally, unfortunately, work on really hard floors in all our dojos, in the schools we use. If we have matted areas, we could do a lot more of this, but with juniors it's particularly difficult, challenging. Although we've started to introduce it recently, and from an instructor perspective, there's an element of trust there for me, trusting the juniors not to take each other's legs away, and the adults the same. So we've started to put this into our karate, and we will continue to do that as and when we all get back together. But this time here, rather than just that coming back, because remember they're going to come back at us. Okay, they're going to go in one and then they're pushing through, so they're really going to come at you. I think better this one here, back pedal, not back pedal, step back, then change legs, change here, bang, sweep, whatever. I hope that makes sense. The fact that they're coming in for two big steps forwards, you can't just stand your ground, if that makes sense. You can to a point, but I think you're putting yourself in an element of danger there where you lose control, okay? And Kumite is very much about maintaining and gaining control on your opponent, and it's a bit like chess, isn't it, as I said earlier. So in chess, quite often you will maybe let you'll take one for the team and let the side lose one, so you lose a pawn maybe to protect your king or queen, and there's me sounding like I know what I'm talking about in terms of chess, but I haven't played it since I haven't played it for 30 years. So, but what I mean is you basically give up one of your characters, as it were, or one of your pieces to enable to protect the king, who's then going to come back and win. I hope that makes sense. It's a mind game. Kumite is a mind game. Okay, it's about judging, reassessing, monitoring, making movements, taking movements. All of the complicated things, and which is why I love it. I've said many times before, if we don't challenge ourselves in whatever we do in life, then it becomes a bit stagnant, a bit boring. So for me, I like to put those challenges out there. Quite often, when I'm fighting, I will literally give someone a free punch, and possibly if it's point scoring, then I'll let them score, and I'll let them score again, and I'll let them score again, and that's just putting a little bit of pressure on me maybe, but actually makes me come out stronger sometimes, most times. Okay, so again, the punch that's coming in is a Gyakuzuki, and they're coming in Gyakuzuki. Okay, so the first one we step back, the second one we change stance quickly, sweep the leg and finish here. Okay, we can, of course, just parry down, but that second punch is coming, so I've got to be super quick, and then I have to step back after, okay, or later. Not as easy. I'm now on the wrong side of their leg to sweep, not as easy, but possible, depends on the person, the timing, etc. But not as easy. I'm trying to make my life easy. I'm trying to make myself so I am able to win. Strategy, there's a word I've been looking for reading. So I hope that sort of makes sense on that particular technique. Okay, so our next one then is, next technique is 4, okay? So Gyakuzuki, and then Urakunuchi. Remember, they can step through Urakunuchi, Gyakuzuki step through Urakunuchi, or they can Gyakuzuki and Urakunuchi with the same arm. So you can make up your mind where this one's coming from. This one's quite good to keep close, to keep them close to you. Okay, so Ashi Barai is out of the question here. So what we're thinking here with this one here is the first punch is coming here. Okay, so we just use that normal parry, so we just slightly shuffle back, take the power out of the punch. Doesn't need to be a big slap, just needs to be a little bit of pressure. Take the punch down here. The second punch is coming in here. So the Uraken is coming around to come here, okay? So I'm parrying here. So now I've covered my body here, because this hand's down here, so if they kick, if they punch again, I'm covered. And this hand literally will spring into action, Urakunuchi, to gain what they were trying to gain on us. So with this one here, yeah! Okay, so nice and slow. Block, bam, back fist. Okay, so think of the parry, Sha! And then think of the explosive technique that's going to finish them. You can't just block. You can't just block. You can't just block. You have to counter. Okay, so it's really important that everybody, I think, understands that when they're doing Jiyu Kumite, is you can't just keep doing this. I tried it. I'm not going to lie. I did it in a competition. Saw how basically I tried to see how far I could go with just blocking for the whole 2 minutes, not counter punching or kicking or anything at all, not attacking at all, and seeing if I could then just win on a Gyakuzuki at the end of the fight. Now, as a Q grade, I was able to do that reasonably successfully. Okay, and in a couple of competitions I took part in. As a black belt, I failed epically. People have switched on to that sort of rubbish. Okay, you can't do that. So you've got to be able to change and evolve constantly throughout the match, throughout the dojo sparring session that you might be having, etc., etc. So I think that's really, really important. To be flexible, to welcome change within it. None of us like change, but actually in a Kumite match it happens constantly, so you get used to it, I think, very quickly. So remember, from this one here, front hand, we can just parry down here, okay, then come across here, and then Yurakunachi with the front hand. We can switch it around, so we could parry with this hand and block with this hand, and then Yurakan. Evolving, constantly thinking, changing, what's going to make our position stronger? How do we make our armoury more secure and enable us to win the battle than our opponent? So once more, the punch that's coming in is a Gyakuzuki and then a Yurakunachi with the opposite hand. Okay, and what we're thinking of doing, okay, is blocking, and then counter punching with the Yurakan. Just having a thought while I'm teaching this. It may be better if I do it facing that way sometimes, from your perspective. I'm not so sure on this Kumite. So again, a little bit of feedback at the end of the lesson would be good, and if need be, we can do this again. In fact, we'll do it. Depends how long we're going to be like this. There's things that we can revisit, things that we can go over, etc. So once more, nice and slow on number 4. So number 4 is the Gyakuzuki, step through Yurakunachi. Okay, so we're blocking here. Okay, then we're coming back Yurakunachi. Blocking here, coming back Yurakunachi. Okay. And number 5, now this is a difficult one. Number 5, or is it? Number 5, where our technique was a Gyakuzuki, and the idea of the Gyakuzuki was to make the person go back ever such a bit, to put them under pressure. Okay, and as they take the weight off of their front leg, you sweep it, take their leg up, they go down towards the ground, or you unbalance them enough to finish. And that seems quite simple enough. So how on earth do you protect yourself against a technique like that? Okay, because that's them controlling you. They have literally thought to yourself. So as an attacker, I just think, right, I'm going to slam this in as far and hard as I can, okay, with as much commitment as possible to make them go, gee. Okay, and literally people do that. You see it in their faces, and they block, and they'll block that punch, but they'll take the weight enough off this front leg for you to just tap it, which will make them unbalanced, or if you're lucky, not lucky, if you're skillful, you will sweep them up and then get them on the way down. So we've got to think like they think, okay? We've got to think smarter, and we've got to be thinking, okay, they are leading me into a technique that I don't want to be doing, okay? I don't want to be giving them a position whereby they can ashibarai me. So, as they come in, okay, you are going to ever so slightly squeeze your abductors, so you draw in together. You draw in together, but your weight stays down. And as they sweep you, you bring your leg around and you sweep them. And you counter their brain to what you want. Okay? So, remember, they're going to go Gyakuzuki, ashibarai, and punch. Okay? You are going to parry, move your leg, but don't just move it, sweep the leg, and finish them. Okay? So your eyesight has got to be really keen on your opponent here. So you're not looking at their leg. As soon as you look at their leg, they'll know what you're doing. Okay? So as the punch comes in, you parry the punch, sit your weight down. So if they do hit your leg to sweep, they're not going to sweep you because your body weight is down. Okay? It's very difficult to move somebody who's 14 stone 11, and I am, dead weight. So you just drop down, But you need to be in a position whereby you're around 50-50, so you can hook this leg up. So you just snap it away, bring it round, and finish them. It sounds easier than it is to do, and really, to be honest, the times I've done this, it's more down to timing. And what you've seen is the person's gone in with a Gyakuzuki, and rather than just tap the front leg, as I said we should do on Tuesday, most people, in terms of a sweep, nice Gyakuzuki, they'll hoof the leg up. They'll literally use all of their body and all of their momentum to try to get you off balance and onto the ground. And that's their failing point there, because by you putting all of that energy into there, they have committed their body 110%. So all you have to do, avoid the sweep, take up, and bang. Okay? So they're going to come in Gyakuzuki, Ashibarai, Gyakuzuki. We're coming back, sink down, take the leg around, up, and finish. Okay? Now, I know this works because, one, I've used it a few times, and I copied it blatantly off of somebody who does it far better than I do. And Sensei Wayne Otto, who was 9 times world Kumite champion, I remember watching him do this in the English Nationals at Leeds, in a competition I was in with him and quite a few other famous karateka. And I remember him doing it not once but several times in the same competition, and to be honest, it didn't matter who it was, it worked. So he was very good at it. I did it a couple of times successfully, a couple of other times not so. So you've got to try these things. You've got to try these things. What works for one doesn't necessarily work for others. What works in one match won't work in another, etc, etc, etc. So I think hopefully that's given you an idea about the kumite. So on number one, just a nice slide back, Yurakan, parry. Okay, so in other words, they go to the Gyakuzuki, you draw them in, and then you back fist them. Just very simple. The Kazami Gyakuzuki, that's used the 12 o'clock block, Nagashi. Okay, then the 3:15, Oseyuki here, and then Gyakuzuki or Yurakunuchi, or change the arms here, or sweep the leg, and continue. Sukatei, 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 yeah. Okay, number 3 was the Gyakuzuki. Okay, so step, change the leg straight away, Yeah, so as they come in, change the leg here. Then jump the start, sweep the leg, and finish. Just a very simple solution there. Yurakan Gyakuzuki. So, Gyakuzuki Yurakan. So here and come through Yurakunuchi. So this is the one where we're here, and then same arm. Okay, so here, hey, yeah, same arm. And then the 5th and final one, the Gyakuzuki Ashibarai here. Okay. Let them come in, just come down, sink that weight down, come round. As they sweep you, you bring your leg around. Okay? It doesn't matter which way you go, whether you swing it this way or that way, it doesn't make any difference. You could do a front leg sweep here, just take them down. It's really easy because they put their weight into their sweep. But I think a nice easier way would be to come around, sweep the leg and finish. Okay, so they go to sweep you, you come around their legs, hook up, and yeah! And finish off. And yummy. Okay, so hope that feels like a rush lesson. I was super excited to do it this morning, and then I went on a silly bike ride, which has put my back out again. And it's not quite as I envisaged it, but I hope it was okay. And I certainly enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing this every Tuesday and Thursday nights, keeping me completely sane, which I think is really, really important. Yes, my hair's getting long. No, I'm not cutting it. I think I'm going to go with full mullet if I can, and various different bits of facial hair. I think it's really important to celebrate and embrace the current situations we've got, and make all my friends without any hair jealous. A couple of last things to say. Good evening to a couple of people. It's Christian Sensei's birthday on Saturday. Christian Sensei is 52 on Saturday. No, he's not. I wish. He's 42 on Saturday. So happy birthday, Christian Sensei. I wish you a very happy birthday. And we'll no doubt meet up with you at some point, and we'll have some of that Roku gin. I've got 2 bottles, Christian, so I think we could have an evening with that stuff. So I hope you have a great birthday and enjoy yourself. Remember, if it's your birthday coming up and you want a birthday shout out, just give me a shout and then I'll let everybody know that it's your birthday. I can tell you now that celebrating a birthday under lockdown is better than people say it was. I really enjoyed mine, but then I shared it with you. So so you can send your Christian sensei your happy birthday wishes and everything for Saturday. So last thing for me then, we'll finish with the Dojo Kun, and I will see you again on Tuesday. But in the meantime, coming tomorrow will be the Heian Shodan kata mashup. Okay, so you've seen the black belt version with Kanku Dai. We're going to then share with you tomorrow Heian Shodan, but we're not sharing just one kata. There are going to be two versions. There's going to be Aka on the red side and Shiro on the white side. Okay, and you will no doubt see yourself in one of those videos. And I'm hoping that you'll enjoy them as much as I've done. And just a huge thanks to Connor, one of our black belts, for doing the videos and putting them together. His editing skills are excellent, okay, and very appreciative of him doing it. And it was his dad's idea, Eddie's idea. Although he said he nicked it from someone else, the best ideas come from learning from other people. So I think that's a really good thing. I'm pretty sure that I've seen. Happy birthday for last weekend, Harry. 12 years young, good boy. Yeah, I wish I was 12 years young. Okay, Kyotsuke, so we'll finish there and do the Dojo Kun. Henrei, os. Dojo Kun. Hitotsu jinkanku kansei ni soromoto koto. Hitotsu makato no michi o momoru koto. Hitotsu doryoko no seishin yashinao koto. Hitotsu reigyo amanjo o koto. Hitotsu keki no yo imashimuro koto. Hey, I'm finished, everybody. Enjoy VE Day tomorrow. Hope you're doing something in your street or wherever you live to celebrate. And we'll see you on Tuesday. And look after yourselves, take care and stay safe. See you later. Arigatou gozaimasu.